Um, Upper Group I1, um, Upper Group I in general. Upper Group I came about came about around fuck I, shit the Aurignacian culture and the Grevetian culture and the Sutherian culture. These are the primary cultures in which Upper Group I well came from, and then the later Indo-European expansionism with the Corridor people that came from the Eurasian steppes. What interests me about this Upper Group I is that these were the people that first, I shouldn't say first, but these were the people that hunted the megafauna straight from the Eurasian steppes into Europe. Yeah, they made their way from the Eurasian steppes straight into Eastern Europe through, and then through Central Europe, where they supplanted themselves in the Ice Age. More or less, what happened is that they they took up spaces in Southern Europe and in Central Europe in the Paleolithic, from memory, right? And for the most part, these people were very advanced at making flint tools, megalithic tools. They were just fast and very intelligent people, very tall, around. I think from the measurements, right? If I can link some of these measurements in my description or my comment section, they grew up they grew up to about what 188 centimeters, which is about 5 foot 11, 6 foot for the time. That is very tall. Even in this age, that is considered, I should say, above the mean of what normal people are. The 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 fuck the I don't even have a proper space to even talk about this, but the some of these people even grew up to about 190 centimeters. They're very tall people, right? But I don't think the height is what you should be paying attention to if you want to talk about physical presence. These people were very broad, very wide, very strong bone structure. You know, very, very large masseter, very large, very wide zygomatic arches, very strong brow ridges. Yeah, very strong brow ridge. Um, Kuhn, Kuhn, I think Kuhn, but I don't know his name, Carleton Kuhn. He he attributed this robustness to a mixture between the early Aurignacian people and the Neanderthals. So he was trying to say that these people got this robust because they mixed with the Neanderthals, who were very wide and robust people. As a matter of fact, they got even shorter because of that. But in my opinion, it seems more or less that the what happened was that they went through similar similar adaptations to that of the Neanderthal to survive in that climate. And because the thing is, the thing is, they, they do they do seem they do have Neanderthal admixture, but if you actually were to test these people, these ancient people, which you can still do to this day, we have their DNA. That's how I know they're I1 and I and I2. They quite literally have none of this. All right, the people that bottleneck in Eurasia, they have quite literally almost zero Neanderthal. So it's just adaptation more or less. Um, the the what else? Yeah, the 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 cave paintings in France, the Cro-Magnon one. Yeah, they they had a very advanced taste for animation because they were basically even drawing movements on the caves in Europe, if I remember correctly, right? That's what we were doing. So, if you want me to be very honest about what these people were to me, these people were the one of the first people to ever actually consider their in their existence in and of itself. This is why they were capable of doing all this stuff. And then, and then, what they did was, from understanding what they were, they continued to live their lives happily until it ended. Very wise people. That's why they used to call them the wise men, the Gravettian people, the Cro-Magnons, whatever you want to call them. Very wise men. The They subsisted on not only big game, they hunted efficiency hunted, they fished a lot, they hunted seals, they did all this stuff, basically all the stuff that any other hunter-gatherer culture would do. But what makes them so unique, in my opinion, is that these people managed to keep up to this lifestyle straight up until the late Neolithic, actually, and where they slowly started adapting to the Bronze Age Neolithic culture, where they had not even metallurgy. They were using stone tools even then, and they still managed to somehow be successful. And they adapted Bronze Age weaponry from the steppe Neolithic people and the Neolithic farmers. Upper group I1, upper group I2, that is their people were descended from that. That is their specialty in the world. They can survive. They can survive while being a modern, walking, talking caveman. That's it. Yeah, that's my thoughts on this ancient I haplogroup lineage thing. It's interesting enough for a conversation to be had about it, but it's not. I don't think it really. This stuff should really be on your mind or consuming most of your time, because at the end of the day, if you don't go outside and then you don't get to reproduce these lines, it means nothing. Ultimately, it means nothing if you don't go outside. You don't do anything. You don't have fun. You don't go outside. You don't look. You don't look attractive. You don't like hit the nugget. I like this girl. I want this girl. Your line will die off. So this DNA stuff, it should be only looked at as a hobby. It should never be taken up seriously. But my channel, my channel is basically some sort of revivalism shit, right? Well, kettlebell people, like the Indians and the Africans and the East Asian bugmen, right? These are the people that you should be very very wary of. I'll tell you this. I'm not racist. I'm saying what I'm saying is that the way that certain pathologies are aligned, they can't blend. They simply cannot blend with our people. You know, two extreme opposites cannot live in the same space. It will drive one of them insane. That's the truth. Because the thing is that if you look at most of the world, the nuclear family structure is not actually a thing. What people believe in is an extended family tree, an extended family. Like family matters that you live with your cousins, your sisters, your brothers, your aunts, straight up until you're what fucking 30 years old. Yeah, that's how most people live today. All right, and that is the that this channel is about. It's about remembering what it is like to live as a person with ownership. Huh? Man, I know how that sounds, right? It sounds insane. You believe in leaving your family behind that you knew since you were a toddler. Oh, that's insane. Why don't you care about your family that you lived with when you were small? You're much younger. The thing is that the issue into where that comes in, right? This is why I'm so obsessed with talking about this Haplogroup I stuff and this ancient Hunter-gatherer stuff. So the people, these ancient times, what they believed in is that the moment their children were old enough to really hunt on their own, they had the capacity to find shelter for themselves, right? That's exactly what they believe. They don't believe in sheltering their children for that long, right? Yeah. Look at me, dude. I'm a Cro-Magnon hunter-gatherer monster. um, um, I was asked. I was asked a question the other day. The question I was asked. It's the same question I was asked to answer when I was um, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 9 years old. I'd say about 9 years old. And it was the question. The question was. The question was, what exactly did I want to become in life? And yeah, my answer was, a cliche answer. It was nine. At 9 years old, it was I wanted to become an astronaut. Yeah. I'm like, whoa, that sounds insane. It sounds out of the ordinary. You want to become like a doctor or lawyer, but they supported it because it seems as if that something that you could put your mind towards. It's a singular thing. It's a way to make money. Right? So people weren't supportive of it, but it's a very big ambition for a small boy. And it's the boy talking, boy talking astronaut. Every boy has that. Right? But it's like as you grow older, you realize that the what you really want in life is not to be anything really. Really, if you ever actually stop and consider it, you think as a human being, you don't think about what you want to be. What you think about is your desires. You think about your desires and you manifest things around your desires. You work towards your desires and you work to sustain your desires. It's not to be anything, but it's to sustain your desires, sustain what you want in life, right? What you have in your heart, basically. Okay. The Gravettians, the thing about these people, I should say the Western Tagabers, because I'm moving towards the Mesolithic, right? The the Western hunter gatherers were very short, stocky people, very broad, similar facial structure to the Gravettians. These people mainly subsisted on fishing and hunting small game like wild boar and whatnot. They were darker shade, almost olive skin tone. Uh, straight hair, right? Mm, blue eyes, not black, but dark enough for people to consider them black in the modern age, right? Black people, yeah. If you look at reconstructions, right? They're even blacker than me. The reconstructions are even blacker than me, and I'm almost 100% African. All right. Uh, the 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 thing about the Western gatherers is that they almost they almost went through an entire extinction event with the rise of the Neolithic farmers. Because the thing with agriculture is that you're capable of out succeeding people who just hunt. You reproduce more because you really have less. You have less. You kind of have less aim towards anything higher or more, right? You don't want to do anything. You just want to sit around and mill around and die. That's basically what agrarian lifestyle is like, right? This is what most of the world nowadays. This is what most of the world has adapted to, right? A very slow-paced, very boring, time consuming, very short, very long and miserable life to live, right? Not much serotonin being produced. You look at your computer screen, you go to work, you come back home, you jack off to a computer, and that's it, you die. And you get, you get diabetes by the time you're 30. If you're lucky, if you're lucky to even see 30, right? Some people die at 20 years old, right? All right. So that is what the difference between a fast-paced, high-energy lifestyle is like, and a very slow but miserable and draining life is like. In our societies and in our cultures, the people that usually take up fast-paced and very energetic lifestyles, they die quick because some of these people don't really understand how to really live a fast-paced life and create a balance towards homeostasis, right? Where they can live comfortably, right? They have to be constantly on the move. That's why hunter-gatherer cultures died off many, many times throughout the entire world because it's too unsustainable. But what's interesting about the European hunter-gatherers is that they managed to somehow sustain a fast-paced, high-energy lifestyle and create homeostasis at the same time. Sped lifestyle, right? Um, so the hunter-gatherers in Africa, they died off because they could not literally keep up with the farmers. The farmers were basically just sick people who could stick to each other and gang up on other people. That's how they live. The hunter-gatherers in Japan, these people were living similar to that of the European hunter-gatherers. But what happened to them was that they were far out competed. They're far less than the Yayoi people that came over from China, I believe. Yeah, the rice farmers. That's how most of the world is what it is today. The particular interest I have in the hunter gatherers of Europe is because I have the IL-22 lineage, right? I have IL-22 lineage, right? I don't have EM2 or E1 Bantu paternal group. I did a DNA test and I figured it out. Right? The So what I'm trying to really get at here is that the people who adapted farming are sickly people that managed to survive by latching onto each other and eating each other to survive, basically. Yes, the hunter-gatherers of Europe did eat each other. Don't get me wrong, they did do that. They did all this stuff. They committed cannibalism. But the cannibalism was simply through the act of a duel or a conflict ending, and you eat another person. That's it. These people live by sucking the life out of everything around them. All right.